Alright guys, I have a branded Chimera deck profile for y'all today. I think I finally cracked the code on this deck. I really need to take it to a tournament and see how it performs there. The deck still has its weaknesses to Droll and things like that. But let's get straight into the main deck. Nibiru is also a problem, but a lot of people are dropping Nibiru luckily. So we're going to have 3 Mirror Swords Knight, our best starter in the deck. 3 Codal, this is also a starter. It basically gets to Mirror Swords Knight, or one of the other ones. Our new card, the Nightmare Apprentice. We're running this at 3. That is correct, I think, because this card is a 1.5 card starter, you could call it, and sometimes the discard can actually get you started as well. Then we're going to have 3 Gazelle. This card is a starter in a lot of hands now. All you need is a Beast plus Fiend in this deck, and you're cooking. 2 Big Wing Baphomet. This card's really cool. The one drawback to this card is it locks you in the fusion. But if you're playing the branded engine, I think that's fine anyway. So you'll see in the extra deck, I only play 1 non-fusion monster. Now we have our one of illusion monsters. This card is cracked. I mean, it is literally an anti-spell, anti-trap fragrance. Like it's a custom card for Chimera. It's like so custom. They can't droplet you. They can't, Runic just can't do anything. They can't imperm you in the draw phase. There's nothing they can do, like literally, unless they do it before you get this on board. But a lot of times you can pass with this on your board to begin with. But if you're trying to play around Nib sometimes, there are hands where you can, but it doesn't matter. You can still get this out in a lot of hands. So Nib, we're not going to worry too much about. Then we have these 2 guys, the Emissary of the House of Wax. I'm thinking about cutting this, but against Tempai, this could come up where, especially if you hard draw it and they think they're done, they think they're in the clear, you just activate this, and then they literally just can't win a lot of times if they've already had to go through their resources. And then Master Tau to dump. It's just really good. And the rest of our Chimera engine is going to be, we should call it an illusion engine at this point. 3 Chimera fusion. So total engine wise, you're looking at like 8, 11, 14, 17, 20 cards. So it's a pretty big engine. The issue is you do play some bricks in order to play this deck. But that's just typical with any meta deck is going to play a few bricks here and there. Especially it seems like fusion decks are always punished. So, but it's so great. I mean, this deck is really fun. If nothing else, this deck is fun. So let's get into the rest of the cards. So we're going to go with 3 branded fusion just because this card is just so broken. If you get Drolled and you have this in hand, like you can still go for a Dragoon. A lot of decks just cannot out Dragoon easily. Right now you are seeing more Droplet in the meta, so it's a little bit harder for Dragoon, but still a great card. 2 Fallen of Albaz, just because we do recur. We can recur it, but a lot of times we don't want to. So we can just keep one in the deck and make stuff happen. And it's not a bad card just to summon Mirror Jade. I mean, Fallen of Albaz, make a Mirror Jade, or make a Rembrum, start your plays. Next engine that we're going to have is the Fright Fur Patchwork. We're going to be playing 2 Fright Fur Patchwork, 2 Poly, 2 Edge Imp Chain. You could make this 3. The issue is this card, I don't know what it is about it. I just see that card a lot anyway. So for me, this works out. You know, I might will bump it up, but I'm not too worried about it. So that's it for our engines. 2 little small engines that can just help you extend, break through boards, and this deck's really good at going first or second, honestly. You can break a lot of boards with this deck. So let's see. Again, like I said, our biggest issue is Droll and Nib, and even those we can play through them sometimes. We're going to be playing 1 Barrier Statue of the Abyss, 1 The Light Hex Sealed Fusion. So honestly, our inboard, there's times where we can have this plus Diabels. So they can't imperm it, they can't droplet it. They can try to beat over it, but guess what? They're not going to be able to, because we're going to pop a card with Guardian Chimera if we have to. we're gonna have monster negates. I mean, even if they do have to go to battle, beat over that, they're in such a negative position at that time. We're just gonna go in and go for game the next turn. So yeah, good luck outing that. And then for our spells, I am playing the Board Breaker variant. 3 enemy controller. For no other reason than it's my favorite card, probably. Favorite Board Breaker for sure. It's so good in this deck to dodge Empire and dodge Valor. It can mess up your fusion plays sometimes, but you're both, at some point you're like, well, can we just trade 1 for 1? And most of the time, it's worth it. You steal their good monster, whatever. Stealing monsters is so good this format. 3 Super Poly. There's just so many decks that just hard lose to this. It's a good tempi matchup. It's a card that can't be responded to. It's just a house. It's just a house. Going second, it's great. Going first, it's great. It doesn't matter. This card right here is a little weird for me. Talents. So, our main goal is to rip a card from their hand, set up board, set up some type of lock, spell lock, dark lock, whatever we can set up. And then if we can rip another card with this. But a lot of times it seems like, which is fine, it seems like they never have hand traps when I have this in hand. I don't know if that's just like a luck thing or what. I'm okay with that because if they don't have hand traps, we just go to town and pretty much make an unbreakable board. But talents, it's good going second and going first. But I feel like we play enough cards that we can make it, make it work. 1 called by just because it's called by. We do lose to Droll pretty bad. I'm going to show you some combos to just kind of show you how to best play around Droll, which there's not a best way in most hands, but I can kind of show you some stuff. So let's get into the extra deck real quick, and then we'll do some combos. So the extra deck is going to be pretty standard, and I'll show you a couple changes you can make depending on your playstyle. So we're going to go with our honorary branded card right here, Dragoon. This is like our big tough monster of the deck. Mira Jade, this is our second. As far as like great going first boards. Albion is just critical. Renbrum, this can get you to this is your bridge between Brandon and Chimera. So essentially Brandon Fusion is an extender and a starter for the deck. We're gonna be playing 1 Lubellion. It's I literally never make this card. I don't know if I've ever made this card in this deck, but under Shifter, there's times where this could come up. So this deck can do a little bit through Shifter, but not as much as you would like. Can do some stuff, but just nothing crazy. So now let's get into our illusion stuff. The big OTK guy. Typically, used to it was kind of hard to get 3 materials. But now 3 materials in this guy is fairly easy to make in most setups, especially if you set up a good board going first. You should pretty much always guarantee yourself follow up. So he's just a OTK machine at that point. Then we're going to play 2 Phantom Beasts and then 1 Baphomet of the Phantom Beast. So Chimera and Baphomet. He dumps, he's a foolish, and he is a Monster Reborn. So, and then they both kind of have, he's like a Monster Reborn from the graveyard. So they both have really good effects. He can hand rip. They're really kind of broken cards, to be honest with you. They're pretty awesome. Now I'm going to show you a couple things that you could change about this deck if you wanted to. You notice these are level 6s. There are certain hands where you can make rank 6 plays, but in this deck, I prefer to treat it as a fusion deck. I think that's how it was designed to be played, so therefore that's how I like to keep it. If you're going to play a more hand trap based variant, then I could see going with the more pure illusion version. Super Poly targets Garura, Mud Dragon, Pretty Planet Dragon Aspelia. This pretty much covers the meta right now. There's really no decks that it doesn't cover. At least one of these doesn't. So yeah, it's really good. This is also just a good card in general because we can make it off of a lot of different things, you know. Chimera Fusion. Just keep in mind, Chimera Fusion requires a Beast or a Fiend. Guardian Chimera. I notice I use this play less and less, but in the right matchups, I could see where you would probably want to use this. So I don't play 2 anymore, just because it just doesn't come up as much with the layers that we have now. But, you know, like I said, there's a couple cards that you could change. So then we're going to have Magnum the Reliever. This card can come up. It's going to get you a draw. It can help you extend. It can also help you kind of say, like, break through a board, you know, get rid of troublesome cards. You can destroy it, you know, target one card on the field, destroy it. And then our last card, this is one that I probably will change, maybe for another Baphomet Fusion or another Guardian Chimera. Just because this doesn't come up a lot, but I feel like it's good to have this option. Like there's times where, say you're under draw, but you can get out the Apprentice and Mirror Swords Knight, you know, at some point, and make this properly made Chaos Angel. Still pretty good. And then you have your, at least have maybe a fusion set up, barrier statue lock. Nothing crazy, but enough to sometimes win a game. So, okay guys, so this deck is not linear at all, and you can get really creative with this. So we're going to start off, we're going to normal summon Mirror Swords Knight. Okay, it's a good idea to see if they'll impermanent on summon, just to see. If they do, you can quick effect. Now you're going to special out Baphomet effect to add you this and this. Keep in mind, you are fusion lock at this point, which in our opinion, it doesn't matter. This is just a 1-card combo. So now we are going to go straight. Keep in mind, we have 4 other cards in hand at this point. We haven't committed anything. We are going to fuse these away for our copy of the Phantom Beast, the Chimera of the Phantom Beast. So we have some triggers here. We are going to go chain 1 Baphomet to special, chain 2 Gazelle to add, chain whatever. Chain 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's, I don't know what I was thinking. To rip. So chain 3 to rip. So they can't bell us, they can't ash us. We're protected. So now we are going to special out this. I would special it there. Doesn't really matter where you special it there. Then we're going to add this. This is add any illusion card. So here's just one play. So we're going to add back Chimera Fusion. You have the option here now to Chimera Fuse these 2 away, these 2, Illusion and a Beast, to bring out your copy of Baphomet, the King of Phantom Beast. Now this is even better if you have a Poly in hand or a Frightfur Patchwork, so I will show you that combo in a minute. So now we are going to use his effect to dump. Diabell's has no effect right now, but we're going to go Tau effect Engrave to special out our Diabell's. We have a anti-spell fragrance on the board now. Let me move this over here to where you can see it. Of course, don't play in Anima Zones. That's just stupid. But it can happen to the best of us. So now we have 4 other cards in hand. Hopefully we could just keep going, but maybe we can't. But what this is going to have, we're going to have 4 cards in hand. If you're playing hand traps, you're going to have 4 hand traps, but you're probably going to have like a super poly. Most likely you're going to have another card in hand. I mean, something to be able to extend this even further and possibly get out a completely different lineup. You could have went a different way. So let me show you one other route that you can go off of 1 card. So we're going to keep all this the same. We're just going to go a little bit different. Okay. So instead of, this way you can end on a barrier statue. So we're going to special summon the Mirror Swords Knight. Effect. I mean, we're going to normal summon the Mirror Swords Knight. Sorry. Effect. Effect. Add. Add these 2. Okay. So at this point, you can go ahead and fuse these 2 into your hand rip. Again, make sure your chains are proper. So we will go ahead and bring back, we're going to add this. So you can add, it's still a 1-card combo, but you can add this well, where you at? Where you at? This, I would add this because that way you have some targeting negation, because you're going to want that because of what I'm going to show you. So now we're going to add back this. We're going to go ahead and cornfield codal effect to add. You can go ahead and add another, in this case, I would add another illusion, probably this one. That way you have one engraved just in case one of them gets banished or something. So now you're going to go Chimera Fusion, fuse these two into this Baphomet, the Fusion Baphomet, effect to dump. Instead of Tau, we're going to dump the barrier statue. I know you can't see the grave. Here's the grave here. So you're going to dump the barrier statue here. Now, you still had to use two Chimera. You had to use your Chimera Fusion twice here, which sucks. So you don't quite end on the board that you would want to. Again, you still have 4 cards in hand though. Next turn, in their draw phase, or whenever, it don't really have to be the draw phase, you will banish Baphomet, and then special back out your barrier statue. So now you're like, well, what if they imperm you? You have this to protect it, and you're going to have insane follow-up for the next turn. You can go this effect, just do the same thing you just did, and then you would be sitting at like 6 cards in hand. Hopefully you would have opened a polymerization or two of the Chimera Fusions, and then you could have gotten to some cooler stuff is what I'm getting at. Alright guys, let's go into a little bit more advanced combo that has a little more options with it. So we're going to have a random discard. So technically it's a 3-card combo, but you're going to get a card back off of this, so you're not going to go negative really. So we would normal summon the Mirror Swords Knight. You would go effect, or if you wanted to hard make a Chaos Angel here, this is how you can probably make one. If your hand allows for that, because we still can search and then do some other cool stuff with that. But I would go ahead and go for go for our copy of Baphomet. If you don't want to be fusion locked and you already have another one of these in hand, you can go a little bit different route. But it's completely up to you. But you can, if you don't care about being fusion locked, you can go for this because it's going to get you the same thing. So we're going to grab that. And we're going to grab Chimera Fusion. Okay, so we are going to have some options here. Depending on what this discard is, this is just another way to be able to set up the Diabels very easily. So in this case, we could go ahead and pitch this, or we can wait and try to see where things go. So I would just keep playing this out. That way they don't know what's in your hand. Because right now, we're in a pretty good position. We're going to go into our boy, the Hand Ripper. Make sure you chain blocked here. So 1, 2, 3. That way you are chain blocked, of course. So we will add, well, I'm doing it in backwards order. So you can add here a couple different things. Depending on your hand, there's a couple different things you can add. But I would probably just for safety, just so they can't target your monster, because you're going to want to protect your Diabels. This is just another way into Diabels. So now we're going to add back this, activate this. It's going to add, I would add another Mirror Swords Knight for follow-up. So we're going to do our free discard of this, and whatever, it don't have to be that though, it can literally be anything. We're going to trigger this to add our copy of Diabels. So now, Diabels, we have some options here. We can go fuse into this, or we can wait. We can wait. If you want to wait and see if a Guardian Chimera is more impactful, because this is an illusion and you're going to have a beast at the next point, so you can go into your into this guy, then you can dump Tau and bring this out on their turn, because right now we've played in a nib, and you could have did a few different. You could have played around it a little bit, but not to have an optimal combo. But anyway, most of the time you're just gonna go ahead and put it on board. There's nothing to do about it anyway, and you can always just bring it back out because that's super strong in certain matchups. But I would only go for this like, I wouldn't push hard for this all the time, but it is really good. So we're gonna fuse these two. Now we're gonna dump Master Tau. Gonna dump Master Tau. Or if you play two of this guy, well, anyway, that's more advanced. That's like turning into 3-card combos and stuff. So we're gonna dump this guy, special back out Diabell's the original Sin Keeper. So now we have follow-up for next turn. We have like 3 cards in hand. We have 2 cards in hand and then another follow-up card. Next turn you're going to use this. Add 2 more cards to your hand. You're going to have a monster negate. You're going to have a targeting negation. And hopefully the 2 other cards in your hand are either extenders or they are hand traps or board breakers. You're going to have 3 monsters that cannot be destroyed by battle. At least 2. Your opponent cannot activate spells or traps unless they're set. Then next turn, depending on what they force out, you can literally just go back in for OTK because they're gonna have a hard time destroying this, gonna have a hard time destroying this. So let's just say they destroy this. Well, guess what? Guess what? Oh, you get rid of that? Well, now we're gonna just get rid of that, bring this right back. Okay, well, oh no, you just got rid of this again. Oh no, well, we're gonna just bring this right back. So it's like, it's never ending and you have a lot of stuff going on. It's basically the same board, just one more body, and the next turn you can go into this, make Chaos Angel first, and then you will still have plenty of ability to OTK, depending on what route you want to go. I mean, Chaos Angel, a properly made Chaos Angel, the banish off the Chaos Angel, you'll have a fusion into your big guy, more follow-up, whatever card you draw, it's pretty good. So